The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNCNow.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel. Our passion transforms a community that sees all things new. I am Alpha Sanford and I'm streaming live from Boston, Massachusetts. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, mabuhay. Welcome to Once a Teacher, Always a Teacher on TNC. Hi, everybody. It's Alpha Sanford again. Thank you very much for joining with us for this wonderful episode. Today's special guest is no other than Miss Angel Rose Sapaden Gabion. She was my former college classmate, and she and I enjoyed many classes together while in college. But since college, we separated ways, and I follow her on Facebook, and I've seen her wonderful journey as a special education teacher in the state of California. I have to say that I am very proud of the work that she has done for educating children with disabilities. But before I bring you my wonderful former college classmate, let me introduce you our special guest. So, Angel Rose Sapaden Gabion has been married to her husband Jeff for over 18 years. That's really such an accomplishment, all right? They have two boys, Julian, who is 17 years old, and Jared, who is 15 years old. This year is her 21st year as an educator. In the Philippines, where she started, she taught special education from kindergarten to 12 in a Montessori integrated school of Antipolo. And when she actually came to the US, she taught in Edinburgh, Texas as a K to 5 moderate to severe special education teacher. That was in 2003. Then a year later, she moved to California. She taught at the Lavina Middle School for 11 years. Currently, she's been teaching at the West High School, and she's been there since 2015. She's had many different roles She is a leader, a special education teacher leader in many ways possible. Miss Angel Rose Sapaden Gabion also has a Master's of Arts in Teaching with specialization in special education and Master of Science in Educational Leadership. Currently, she is the assistant program specialist for their department, and she also co teaches two periods Introduction to Physical Science. She is a member of their executive leadership team at the West High School. She's also part of their tier two of their MTSS team, which is the multi tiered system of support. And she is also one of the teacher mentors of their classrooms. So, without further ado, let me bring you my ever talented and I very well respect her, Miss Angel Rose Sapaden Gabion. Angel.
Hey, Alpha. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, my friend. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. You're welcome. So, how are you doing today, Angel?
You know what? I'm doing great. I'm excited to do this with you. I know we've rescheduled it a couple of times because band life has been taking over. So now I can finally sit with you. But yeah, I'm doing great.
Awesome. So, tell us, how have you been doing since the start of the school year?
After the pandemic, our students present a different kind of challenge, especially with like their learning loss and just following directions in the classroom. But overall, it's been a great year. It's challenging, but challenges comes with teaching, and you just have to persevere and do what you need to do, and it's all good.
That's right. I mean, 21 years as an educator. That's pretty amazing, Angel. Oh my gosh.
That means you also have almost 21 years because we taught almost at the same time.
True. I forgot about that too. That's right. You
Yes,
know, I got to update my resume because I keep on saying over 15 years in the education field, but you're right. It's
yes.
21 years, Angel. Yeah. So, your journey as a teacher in California is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like our viewers to actually learn from you. So, would you walk us through your fantastic journey,
Of course.
beginning with your life as a teacher in the Philippines, and then to where you are now?
In 2002, a lot of our friends were messaging me, "Hey, Angel, let's go apply for a job to teach in the United States." And I was like, with a salary of 8,000 pesos a month, it's very tempting to apply for a job in the United States. So I
Wow.
did. And to be honest, it was a very, very tedious process. Everything was legal. We went
Hmm.
to an interview, we filled out paperwork, and we received, papers from the immigration that we have a job. So 3 days before we were gonna fly to El Paso, Texas, we were doing a professional development, and we were reading Dr. Wong's First Day of School book.
Oh, yeah, Harry Wong. I remember that book, Angel.
So they took us to a corner and said, "Hey guys, you're gonna fly in 3 days, but you guys don't have a job." And
Ooh.
we were taken aback. We were hearing rumors about it from other people, but we've never heard it direct from the agency. But as a dreamer, many of us already loaned our houses. I loaned my grandfather's lot for, I would even mention the amount because you'll get shocked, but lots of money. And I
Hmm.
said I had $700 left to bring with me. And I said, I'm going to go. So I flew to Edinburgh, Texas, and one of the two of the people that was with me were Kyle and Rose, and they were friends from UP. We were all in the same apartment, and yes, we went and looked for a job from Laredo all the way to Harlingen, that's in Western Texas. And
Okay.
we went to school district after school district after school district looking for jobs. So,
Wow.
uh and there's lots and lots of us. So if you weren't lucky enough to get a job, you go to the next city and the next city and the next city. I remember we went to a place called to remember it's there's a place that's the border, and we were a single entry visa. So if we made a mistake, of going through the other side of the street, we won't be able to come back. So that was very, very stressful. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I was a first year teacher. I had no idea about the United States and what they were looking for. So I was just talking about my experiences as a teacher back in the Philippines. So on a Sunday, we have a carpool. He will bring us to different places.
Mm-hmm.
And on a Sunday, I told our carpool, I said, hey, can you drop me off in that little church, white church in the corner? So it was a Presbyterian church. So
Okay.
I opened the door and I go in, and oh, I couldn't even, I wanted to run away because I was one of the few people with collars. It was an ocean of, Caucasian people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went in. My carpool is gone. I had no choice. But
Oh.
I've never felt like uncomfortable because they're very accepting and loving and accommodating. So I sat down, and there was a microphone being passed, and they asked who has a prayer request. So I felt a nudge. I had to speak.
Ah.
So with my heavy, heavy Filipino accent, and you know how it is,
Uh-huh.
I spoke. I said, hey, I am Angel. I am a special ed teacher from the Philippines. I just got here and I'm looking for a job. So if you guys could pray for me. And the lady behind me, maybe one or two, her name was Margie Barrera. She said, come see me on Monday.
Uh-huh.
So I went and saw her on a Monday. She asked for my resumes and everything else. And she scheduled me an interview with Dalia Sanchez, who was then the principal at Cano Elementary School, where I started, Cano Gonzalez Elementary School. So I had an interview on the Thursday. She needed to talk to my supervisor on a Friday. So I went very early because
Mm-hmm.
we needed to call Mrs. Dr. Silvia Lazo, one of our professors, because I work for her.
Mm-hmm.
And, by then you only use your phone card, but you have to scratch the number. And
Yes.
you have to be very lucky. I prayed and I prayed. I'm like, please, Mrs. Lazo, answer the phone. And thankfully, she answered the phone and I got the job after that phone call. So, it wasn't all me. It was somebody up there. God gave me this job because he placed me in the right place. So I was the only one of all the teachers that was in the agency that got a job at Edinburgh School District. They were not willing to work with our agency. So
Wow.
yes, I was. It's
Wow.
it's a blessing. I cry every time I think about that story because it was a favor from up there. So
Gosh, Angel, it just gives me the chills from
uh-huh.
all over me.
Same thing, friend.
Wow.
Yeah. So I am a grateful person because of that. So I always give back as much as I can. I give back to the people around me, my family back home, or to anybody that's in need. That's where I always get that. People are like, why do you always give? It's because I've been given so
Mhm.
much that I can give a lot. So
Mhm.
yeah,
My gosh, Angel.
you're gonna make me cry.
Yeah, it's really such a divine intervention. And
Uh-huh.
for you to actually go there in that white
Mm-hmm.
Presbyterian church, not knowing anybody,
Mm-hmm.
with little amount of money left and just the will and the ambition. And for you to really ask help, my
I
gosh.
mean, you are already in a situation where you have no control. It was depressing. It was sad.
Mhm. Mhm.
We were eating on the floor and there was a Walmart or HEB across where we will get our food. And,
Mhm.
there were times when I would call my mom and I say, I'm coming home.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
because it was a very stressful situation. So yeah, it's a blessing. It's
Yeah.
a blessing forever. So
That's right. So, Angel, I'm just curious, whatever happened to the agency that promised you jobs that I would say you paid considerable
oh, it's
amount
a
of
lot of
money?
money. Yes.
Yeah, what happened to that agency?
I just heard from other people that they were shut down and
Uh-huh.
that the agencies, FBI agents and the immigration
Mhm.
officers were looking for people to kind of like build their case. But
Mhm.
when I moved, I kind of like just detached because I did not want to have to anything to do with that agency
Mhm.
because it wasn't worth,
Yeah.
the stress. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was lucky I had my passport with me and they didn't get it because sometimes when you apply for jobs in the United States or anywhere else, your agency will take your passport with them. And so we were lucky that the passport was with us. So, but I heard, a lot of the people got jobs and they were just dispersed all over Texas. I know some people went to Arizona, to Maryland, just different places, just so they could find a job. So most of the people I know were able to, get a job, which was a blessing. But I was over it.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm.
So tell me, you had that interview on a Thursday, right? After you went to church on that Sunday. When did you start? How did it feel like, to go into that school? Tell
Oh,
me.
I we're Ilocanos, me and
Yeah.
you. We're
Yeah.
we're tough.
We're tough.
We're ambitious.
Yeah.
We're go-getters. And
Uh-huh.
in college we were go-getters. It's our personality. And when you decide to do something, you just have to do your best. So I was in a classroom with like five students, or four students, and two of them was in a wheelchair. We had some autistic children in there, and I had no idea what I'm gonna do. But thankfully, University of the Philippines Special Education has trained us with a lot of the things, and we learned everything about the disabilities that up till to this day I use them. So I'm thankful for all the professors out there in UP-Diliman, especially in the SPED department. And I just kind of like use those. I used a lot of, our teaching tools. We created so many materials that helped our students. So I just kind of like use that to, be successful in my classroom. It wasn't the easiest to go because I was a stranger going into a place, and I was lucky enough to have a Filipino teacher there that was hired the same time as me. Her name is Maria, and we kind of like just like depended on each other and helped each other, and that's how it is. And I till to this day, I'm thankful for my admin, especially for my principal, Miss Sanchez. We still message each other on Facebook, and she came to my wedding because she has just guided me. There were a lot of challenges, I will not lie. There were times where I felt like they were judging me based on my race and my color.
Right.
And this is a funny thing. I had a student and he said, Miss Angel, I can't understand your English because we have a heavy accent. We still have it, but it's not as much. And I said, work with me because I can't understand yours as well. So you just have to be honest with these kids because it's hard. You are, in Western Texas, they speak mostly Spanish, and it's a very heavy with Hispanic people, and you just have to I just gave my best, and I went to work with a smile like I always do, and persevered. There were a lot of challenges. Instructional aids, it's always a problem for us as special ed teachers. I had one that was great, and I had one that was problematic, but you just got to do what you got to do. And I counted the kids' progress day by day, and that's where I took my energy from, my willingness to work with them, and I made it for a year. So yes,
that's great. So what got you through on your very first year?
It's first, you have a loan to pay. Just to be honest, you have a loan to pay.
Sure.
You have to work. Almost half of your salary is going to the loan that you took, and you have sisters and brothers you want to help. But mostly, it's my love for the kids. I think with the 2.5 years that I was in the education department back in UP, we were exposed to just being with the kids. We're not just reading our books. We were exposed to blind and deaf. We were exposed to Down syndrome, autism, with all the different disabilities, and we learned how to love them, and they became our passion. So I think that's where I was getting from. It's just, although these kids are low functioning, I can get something out of them, and I could make them do things that could make them successful. I had a boy who has autism, and he didn't know people's name, and we just started just putting pictures in the name, and by the end of the year he was talking simple sentences. And up till to this day, I'm still in contact with his mom because he was just a success story. And so that's where I got my I just had to persevere and just work with these kids. So
beautiful story, Angel. Yeah. Now, what made you move to California?
Well, it's a different long story. We'll do it on another episode. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But I was then talking to my husband as a friend, and, we were emailing, and there were some phone calls, and I said, if I move to the United States, maybe we can reconnect. And
Uh-huh.
so when I got here, we reconnected. And because of some of my experiences in Texas, he was like, it's time to move to California. So
Mm.
he was like, I am here to support you. You have, you have friends in there, but it's not the support that you need. So then I moved and he proposed and we got married, and we'll be married for 19 years next year, next June. So that's why I moved.
That's amazing,
Hmm.
Angel. Such a love story in between the
Uh-huh.
shift that your
Yes.
education journey, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So I'm curious then, in your many years working in the public school in California, what have you learned about yourself as an educator?
I think my love for the kids and my
Mhm.
empathy towards them has been
Mm,
just my biggest strength. And
mm,
also, I want to educate parents and
mm,
teachers. I want to tell them that their children are capable of doing something, and they play a big role, especially for the parents. They play a big role in developing their children's education, their IEPs, and making them successful. I have IEPs where I had lawyers and advocates, and I would never conform to what they want. I always tell them, this is what I do in my classroom, this is what happens in my classroom, and this is my goal for your child. And I think if parents hear you say that, and if they see results, they're going to work with you. They're not going to fight you. I had a family that had an advocate, and we had lawyers, and we had IEPs every 9 weeks, and we ended up not having any more IEPs, only our annual IEPs. So, I think it's that the love for the kids and my willingness to educate the people around them. I love working with paraprofessionals or we call them instructional aides, because I can
mhm,
also educate them how to help these kids.
mhm.
I have three of my instructional aides became special education teachers. So
Wow.
yeah, and we always say, "Hey, you inspired us," and I think I take pride on showing them that we can help students with disabilities.
Yeah. Angel,
Mm.
who would have been inspired when you are around a person like you? You're just inspirational in many
I
ways.
try my best, not all
Yeah,
the time, but
yeah, absolutely. Now, do you have any children with disabilities who also present any behavioral challenges?
my oldest has ADHD. When
Mhm.
he was in second grade, we actually did an autism assessment, and outside, and the doctor was like, he's in between, like high functioning, it because it we do it by the ratings, and he just told us, there's not much that you can do if we label him with autism in this classroom. We'll just look into other areas to help him out. And he kind of like struggled. We had to do a lot of behavioral modifications at home. We did lists and just a lot of social skills practice. And when he was in fifth grade, that's when we noticed that he was really struggling. And
Mhm.
so we did an assessment again, and he came out with ADHD. And I had to go and get him a 504, and that was really a learning experience.
Mhm.
I sat down on the other side of the table and I just broke down and I said, I need to cry. It's because
Oh.
you're always on the other side and you
Mhm.
focus on, especially teachers, when we do IEPs, we focus on the needs, and mostly on the needs of the kids. And we seldom talk about their strengths, because
Mm.
we are looking for ways to help them improve. And so when
Mhm.
I sat down there and I heard the things that my son struggled with, it hit me. I'm like, I need to
Mm.
change the way I run my IEPs. I need to focus first on their strengths and
Mhm.
put a spotlight on the things that they can do, and then slowly move on to their needs, because it hurts as a parent. As myself, I sat down there and cried because you're hearing this about your child. So he is a senior. He has a 4.18 GPA. We're applying for colleges right now.
Uh-huh.
He wants to go with communications disorder or nursing or physical therapy because he wants in the medical field. And I am so proud of him because he's done a lot. He struggled and he overcame, and it's a team effort. It's effort from us, from his brother, from our families, from his teachers. It's constantly working with him on, okay, son, we need to do this, we need to do that. So I that also is coming from my heart now. I've changed a lot the way I teach and I treat students after I went through the, process of going
Mhm.
through what we went through with our oldest. So,
Wonderful. Well,
mhm.
first, congratulations to Julian for
I
the
know. I am not ready, my friend.
and I was taking some mental notes earlier in
Hmm.
terms of how you run IEPs. And folks who may not know the
Oh,
meaning of IEP, it's Individualized
individual education
Education Program.
or
Uh,
plan.
some people call it plan,
Hmm.
um, but yes, it's program because it does compose of many, many things,
Hmm.
right? So, walk us through how has your experiences with your son um, changed the way you conduct IEPs and changed the way you really teach children with disabilities? I know you hinted a bit,
Yeah.
but
Um,
walk us through it.
like,
I want to
yeah.
hear it.
Yes.
We want to hear
So
it.
first, when I do prepare for my IEPs, I always get, in the beginning of the year, I always call the parents of my students. I call my students because they're high schoolers. Some of them are freshmen. I introduce myself. The upper grade level, the sophomores to the seniors, I still call their parents. Hey, it's me. I'll be your case carrier again this year. I start with the relational capacity. We are our school, and I think a lot of the school districts around the United States, we are pushing the relational capacity with just not our students, but to our parents and the staff. So that's how I started. It's because if they hear from you when things are good, definitely they're gonna respond to you when things are difficult. So that's my philosophy as a case carrier. So I meet these students, I communicate with their teachers. I need to work more on that, but I send an email so often to ask, like, hey, I have a few questions. How's my student doing? Any needs, any behavior concerns? Have you contacted parents? And then whatever information I get, I'll communicate it to my students' parents as well. So when the IEP comes and you plan and you get all these pages and pages and pages of information, you already have the data or the information that can help you build. Because we have to focus on their present levels of functioning. What are their strengths? What are they doing great with? What are their needs? What goals do they have? Are there areas other than academic goals that you need to work? Do they have anything with their social emotional? Because a lot of the students now, we have a lot of kids coming in with mental health illness,
That's right.
emotional disturbance, and the statistics is going higher and higher. And so it's really important to focus on the present levels, because then that would drive your accommodations, that would drive your goals, and that would just drive the whole IEP process. So in the end, you have a plan or a program that is going to help your students succeed. So that's
Mhm.
how I kind of like go with my IEPs. And as the year go by, I improve, I modify things, because just to let your viewers know, the special education world changes almost on a daily basis.
That's
There's
right.
just so work in that world. There's just so many changes on a daily basis, and you need to learn how to adapt and change things to make it work for your students. Because in the end, the IEP is not about the parent, it's not about me, it's not about the teachers, it's about what's best for our students. So that's mainly my focus. What's best for the kid, what's going to help the kid.
I love it, Angel. Like really, keeping the student in the center of the discussion.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. Probably you could be one of the best special education teachers out there in California.
I try my best.
Yeah. Is it true that you were awarded sometime in 2012, like Teacher of the Year in California?
Yeah, I got voted by my peers as Teacher of the Year, and then I was also nominated as Kern County Teacher of the Year,
Nice.
with my peers around the Kern County. And then just recently, I was given, an award in our school as one of the, you know, Viking Pride Awards, because they just um, they just appreciated what I do. So yes.
Wow, they're lucky to have you, Angel. That's wonderful.
But it's, again, it's coming from my love for what I do and for these kids. So
That's right. Now let's talk about some best practices when it comes to teaching children with special needs.
Mm-hmm.
As a teacher in the classroom, my understanding is that you still teach
I teach, yes, I
2
teach two
periods,
periods,
right?
yes.
2 periods a day.
Uh-huh. At the
Um,
end of the day, I do two picture. I co-teach with the intro to physical science teacher. So we do the it's kind of like introduction to all the sciences as they move forward to their 10th grade and their
mhm.
11th grade and other grades. That's when we kind of like so they can see how it looks like the world of science look like because it's exciting. I love teaching science.
Oh, I bet I can see it right now, Angel.
Yes.
Yeah, but are there some, best practices from California when it comes to special education that some teachers out there can learn from you?
Well, I was actually shocked when I moved to California, Alpha, that there wasn't a lot of, there was inclusion, but not a lot of inclusion. Um,
Really?
yes, our school district barely started mainstreaming our kids a few years back into the
Oh,
gen ed. Yeah,
wow.
we used to have like special education, science, English, and math that kind of
Wow.
like help the lower level kids. But just recently, they moved in us to like push in and co-teaching, and so that's kind of like what's the best practice right now here where I am. It's
Mm-hmm.
just developing relationships between teachers so they can co-teach in the classroom. In my school right now, we're co-teaching math,
Mm-hmm.
science, English, history classes. Most of the special ed teachers are going into the classroom co-planning with the
Mm-hmm.
teachers. So we're not just pushing in and helping the teachers. We are actually there working with them and teaching
Mm-hmm.
them, what they need to do. So, like we are teaching the lesson. I am actually participating every summer for what we call a summer team in that's class that I teach. So I learned the curriculum because I did not go for to teach science. I went for special ed.
Of
You can
course.
ask me anything about the disabilities and I can explain it to you. But if you're going to ask me about the periodic table, I will have to go think first. It's been forever since I took chemistry, but I learned, and it's kind of like that's what was happening where I am. And a lot of we're doing is a lot of also putting social emotional learning in the classroom.
That's right.
It's a need.
Mm-hmm.
We have to teach our kids just some of these skills, coping skills, and how to just classroom, organization and things like that. So that's also one of the best practices that we're doing here where I am. Because I cannot speak for other parts of California, but for the school district that I am teaching, that's what's going on.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that, West High School is in the right path for more inclusive
Yes.
opportunities. Way
Uh-huh.
to go. Way to go. Are there any specific PD that you think teachers uh, can focus when it comes to teaching children with disabilities?
I would speak like for the gen ed teachers now
Mm.
that there's more special ed kids in their classrooms and now that they're working with different disabilities, it would really help them to kind of like get to know more about like when we were in college we call it indicators.
That's right. Yeah.
The indicators of these disabilities so that they know how to manage and help them, because if you are not aware of the these indicators of autism, how are you going to be able to teach them? So I think that would be great for a lot of our a lot of our gen ed teachers. But for special ed teachers, I would say we are, I would call us the teachers that are the most adaptable, and I
Mm.
think and we're the most accepting of change
Mm.
because statistic has it after 5 years special ed teachers are burnt out and they're leaving this profession, and we are in shortage everywhere in the United States. It's because of that, just there's just too much being piled on top of responsibilities for special ed teachers. And we just have to learn how to adapt, and we learn how to like just adjust with the changes. So it's just going to be like a continuum of PD on the changes that are happening, IEP writing and just teaching strategies for the students with disabilities, because it changes and there's more disabilities added every so often. I mean, just the responsibilities we have is just getting bigger and bigger. So just the continuum of support. I can honestly say that at the school district that I work for, there's a lot of opportunities for professional development.
Mm-hmm.
And our principal encourages us to go and, participate on these PDs because it helps us to become better educators. It's the only way we learn about the new, what's the best practices. That's how we learn it. So yes.
That's great. Well, when we come back, Angel, I'd actually like to take a few minutes break, but when we come back, I'd love to hear from you in terms of your daily schedule. Walk us through your daily schedule because I know you're part of the executive leadership team over there. And then, yeah, describe to us, narrate to us what's going on in the day-to-day life of Miss, how do they call you at
They
school?
call me Mrs. G.
Mrs.
I get
G.
a lot of name. They call me Mrs. G.
Okay,
It's the ACS because they just some kids cannot just say Gabion. So
that's
I
right.
just call them Mrs. G. It's the ACS. Well,
Wonderful. So let's talk about that, Mrs. G, when we come back. All righty. The new channel is an online alternative new media platform of online shows for people on the go. Please watch all our shows as seen on screen. Imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our channel is a responsible global 24 over 7 platform that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. Please continue to watch Once a Teacher, Always a Teacher on selected Saturdays, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also watch or live or on replay via Facebook or YouTube. Follow us on IG. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Just search hashtag TNC Now. For sponsorships, please email now at thenewchannel.com or send us a DM. Enjoy these life-changing shows because we made them for you. All right, folks, let's bring in Miss Angel Rose Sapaden Gabion. Miss G, you're back.
I'm back. Yes, and it's just fun. I am actually having fun. So yes.
Good. Yeah, I'm having fun too. And my gosh, I am just inspired by the stories that you've shared so far and your amazing contribution to the state of California. And not just the state of California, but the individual students, along with the families that you have touched so far and will continue to touch, you know? So this is great. All right. So we left off with you asking us for you to narrate your schedule on a day-to-day basis.
So I have a very unique schedule. It's because I'm an assistant program specialist. So my days are divided into two. So the morning, I do my job as a case carrier and then as assistant program specialist. So my days are different. You know, there are days, mornings where I am facilitating an IEP. I am taking notes for an IEP. I'm assessing students. I could be calling parents. I'm helping in the office to, talk to parents, talk to students in need, behavior. Every so often, every Thursdays, I am part of what we call the Tier 2 team, where we talk about the services that students that are, they need, mostly on social, emotional, that areas of their lives. And then I also am part of just assessing, which is we call the assessment team. Like I will assess students that are just starting to get special ed needs because their needs are just being, the need for them to get special ed services just being identified now that they're in high school. And yes, it still happens. I mean, you work in this world. Sometimes I am shocked to see like, oh, one time I assessed a kid that was already a freshman and they barely identified her with autism. So the student did not get any intervention from kindergarten to 8th grade. That was a very difficult case. It broke my heart because we know those early intervention is the key for autism. We are getting a lot of students with a lot of OHI for ADHD. And then we have some students with emotional disturbances. And so that's part of my work as well. I have another assistant program specialist that I work with. So that's my morning. And then after lunch, that's when I go and have fun with my freshmen. It's not the easiest. I sometimes ask myself, why am I teaching 9th graders? But they're fun. They're challenging. They're fun, but 3 years ago, I co-taught with one of my best friends. Her name is Teresa Casaya. She's here in my IG and in my Facebook. And when I co-taught with her, I've learned how to love science and how to teach it with the kids and just have fun with the content. And then you're helping kids learn. I still go to I have issues with control. I'll still go like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. But then I will sometimes remind myself, it's science, have fun. So that's my afternoon. I co-teach with Mr. Clark, who has become a friend of mine as well. So we co-teach 2 periods in the afternoon, and then my prep is 7. So in the morning, it's all paperwork, assessments, IEPs, helping teachers. In the afternoon, I'm with students. So it's a very balanced life. I am sometimes, tempted to apply for assistant to become a program specialist, and then I push back because I I changed my mind, because then I will not have that chance to be in the classroom with the kids, where
Mhm.
I find most joy. I love what I do in the morning, don't get me wrong. I enjoy it so much, but having that time with the kids and building relationships and helping them, even sometimes they're like, leave me alone, you're too much. I still push through, because I tell them that is my job, to help you and make you learn. So, but I leave them alone, and then later on they'll be like, Mrs. G, I need your help. I'm like, okay, now you're ready, I'll
Mhm.
help you. So it's that's my everyday life. And then on Mondays and Wednesdays and some Fridays, I also teach what we call the Workforce Academy. These
Okay.
are juniors and seniors who are behind credit. So this is a credit recovery for them. I have
Mhm.
been doing this since 2016, and I love them. I love them because they're juniors and they're seniors, and they have an opportunity to earn a high school diploma and to graduate, and having conversations with them about real life is a different world with my freshmen. So that also adds up to kind of like the crazy world that I live, but I love it. It's a very, very, very busy world. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna lie. Sometimes I forget to like do the things that I need to do because there's just so much going on. But
Sure.
I cannot complain. It's a beautiful work life. I enjoy it.
I think it is. I have to agree, Angel. 10 months of intense teaching, but it seems like 5 days of the week, it's divided
Mm-hmm.
up into three parts, and
Mm-hmm.
each part has like a different taste to it. You get
Mm-hmm.
to do your leadership part, and then you get to really feed the joy within you among the
Mm-hmm.
students. Oh my gosh, it's a perfect one. You've got, your workforce academy, which
Yes.
right away, I actually love doing the work with students who need help in terms of
Mm-hmm.
graduation. So the
Yeah.
fulfillment right there, I can absolutely
Oh
feel.
yeah,
So,
I'm so happy when they tell me they're gonna graduate. I have a boy. He's gonna graduate a semester early from the rest of his friends
there you
because
go.
he would he his name is Michael. His name is Matt. I always switch them. And so
Yeah.
he's Matthew, and Matthew's like, Mrs. G, I'm going to graduate in December. And I'm like, I am so happy for you, Matthew. And,
Nice.
he went to a program. We call it the ROC program. It's our vocational program. So he
Mhm.
went to school from 11 to 3. And he'll come to school. Workforce starts at 3:30, and then he'll come from 3:30 to 9:45 and just work
Mhm.
hard. And he just found joy in being getting those grades and finishing up his classes, and he's going to graduate earlier. And those are the things that makes us
Yeah.
educators happy, are these kids that are just successful. So my math, they just give you the joy to keep going and going, even though a lot of people think education is a hard profession. It is, but you have to find joy in what you do. So
For sure. Beautiful, Angel. Now, what can you say to aspiring teachers who may be entering, the field of education, especially for those who would like to consider teaching in California?
um I think teaching is a profession that you need to grow
Mm-hmm.
a lot. You have to give yourself opportunities to grow, and do not settle with what you have. There's a lot of professional development opportunities. There's a lot of free classes online. Your districts are going to give you a lot of opportunities to go learn from other teachers. Take advantage of that. I did not become where I am just by myself. I have a lot of mentors. And to
Mm-hmm.
name a few, I have Joan Smith from Delano. She was the first person that helped me out. To a lot of people around you that are just going to be supporting you. So take advantage of the help and the support. No man is an island, and no teacher is going to be successful by just closing your classroom door and being by yourself. So that's the first thing I would tell. And then for specialty teachers like me, you need to be able to, like what I said earlier, adapt and you know go with the changes. You cannot be closed minded with this profession. It's an ongoing change, paperwork,
Yeah.
supports. It's you have to come into this job with an open mind and a heart for the kids, because that's where you're going to find the best joy, is your love for the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is that what fills you up, Angel?
Yes. Oh, all the time. When
Yeah.
I'm tired, I find a student and I
Uh-huh.
look at the student. I That's a strategy I do, and I'm this is a secret I'm gonna tell people is when
Sure.
I'm having a bad day, I go the back of the classroom and I look for a student that when I go to that student, I know he or she's gonna respond to me and I'll feel better. So I do that on an occasional basis. There's kids that I would go and I'm like, hey, what can I do for you today? And I know for sure they're gonna respond, and I'll be like, okay, everything's good. We can move on. We can go to the next day because there's days in the teaching world where you're just ready to, surrender. And yeah, so that's where I get my energy to keep going. Is I just find simple joys, little progress that is
Mhm.
going to ignite the fire inside of you, and then you go moving again. Because 21 years in education is not an easy easy way to go. Like, it wasn't an easy road, and like,
Mhm.
you have to find the joy. So that's kind of like what I do when I feel like I'm so tired and I'm ready to just say I quit. I find a kid.
I love it. What a great
Mm-hmm.
advice, Angel. What a great advice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned earlier when you first got here in the United States that you were feeling like you were the only person of color. Now,
Mm-hmm.
21 years forward, and you're a Filipino, a teacher of
Mm-hmm.
color in the state of California. I'm wondering, in this geopolitical world that we are living in right now, how do you manage to do this?
I give my best.
Uh
I
huh.
show them what I have, and I give my best. I teach my students. I play my role to the best of my ability. I speak for myself when I need to. It's important for us to advocate for ourselves. If you feel like it's not working for you or there's something wrong, go to somebody that you know can support you, because I guarantee you there's always going to be one person in there. But
Hmm.
I can't tell you that I never felt um you know treated differently because of my color. There's
Uh-huh.
times in the earlier of my teaching career, but I have done my best. I play my role, like what I've said. I play my role good, and I just give my best. And if they don't appreciate that, it's not going to reflect on me, it's going to reflect on them, because I can go home and say I did my job and I gave what my students need to have. I Earlier, like when I said earlier, I felt like it was challenging, but now it's not. It doesn't affect me as much anymore.
That's great. I think it
Yeah.
ties into what you mentioned earlier, that being in the education field, you kind of grow into it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
I think that's important for especially the young teachers of color would want to keep in mind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, speak for yourself. There's nothing wrong speaking for yourself as long as you do it with respect
Hmm.
and without stepping on other people's feet or feelings, or just speak from what your heart says, because your admin are going to listen to you. They're going to hear you and they're going to help you with whatever you're going through. So, like what we teach our kids in the special ed world, to advocate ourselves, we also have to remind ourselves that we are the advocates for ourselves, so we have to speak out.
Hmm. Angel, we're coming down to the end of our wonderful conversation.
Already.
Yeah, but say, for example, I am going to ask one of your students, and I'm going to ask them, hey, Michael or Mark, whoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe Miss G?
They will just say that she's hyper, because I am hyper.
Okay.
I can't sit still, but mostly they will say that I care about them. I care about their education. I care about their well-being, and
Mhm.
I want the best for them. I am not a perfect teacher. There are days where I'll lose it and raise my voice or say something that I would regret saying, but they will say that I also know how to apologize. I know when to say sorry, when I have to say sorry to my students, because
Mhm.
we're human beings. There's going to be moments where we mess up. When I left my school in Delano, they gave me like this certificate of all my characteristics, and one that stuck to me till to this day is that the only teacher I have that knows how to say sorry. I was like, wow.
Oh,
That was like, I was
wow.
like, okay, there's nothing wrong with apologizing to my kids when I have to. And I do that with my own children at times as well. But yeah, they will say I care
Mhm.
and I want the best for them.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good. And what
Mhm.
if any of your students is or are watching this episode? What would you tell them?
I love all of you in many different levels. I don't always like everybody, but I love them in many different, in different levels. But I am here. I am here as your teacher to support you. I am here a teacher that would you help you navigate what you need and help you be more successful. And I am here to listen with
Mhm.
about anything. You can come talk to me. You can come tell me what you need, or if there's areas that I can help you with. I have my doors open. You can come talk to me, and I will help you navigate ways to help you with whatever you're going through. And I I know that each and one of you have a plan. There's a plan set for you, and I will help you at least do my part to help you guide you through what's planned for your future. So that's what I'm going to tell them.
Oh, that's so cute. And to our audience, do you have any last words for them? Any inspirational message to them?
I came from a very modest family back in the Philippines, and um, I have been here since 2003. And one of the things that I always say is I'm always grateful to everyone and everybody that helped me where I am right now. So, gratitude goes a long way, and it pays back. It comes back to you. So, I wouldn't know where would I be if not because of Margie Barrera and Dalia Sanchez, who gave me the opportunity here in the United States. So give back, be grateful, because you give and it can come back tenfold, 10 times fold. So
Oh, goodness. Just love in my heart, Angel. Oh, my Lord. I'm almost like teary-eyed,
girl, me too.
Um,
When Alpha, when we look back where we came from, me and you, it's not the easiest life, but
yeah. Mhm,
where I am right now, I'm able to help more families back in the Philippines and cousins
mhm,
and uncles. And, it's my heart is just so much. I'm just so blessed not to give back.
mhm.
So
Yeah. Angel, I'm very proud of you.
thank
I'm
you.
very
Me
proud.
too. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm really very proud of the work that you've done, where you are right now. And I want to thank you for this wonderful moment that you've shared with me, and for reconnecting and for really
Hmm.
sharing your wonderful story to the rest of the world. This is
Thank
quite
you.
amazing.
I was nervous. I was messaging you earlier in Ilocano. I was like, I'm getting nervous because I can speak to lots and lots of kids, but when I'm talking to my peers, I just get nervous. But it
You
was
did
fun. I
very
had
well.
fun. Yeah.
You did very well. So, if any of our viewers would like to get in touch with you and would like to know more in terms of becoming a SPED teacher in the state of California, or just give them lend them a hand when it comes to entering the field of education, where can they find you?
Email me at angelgabion80@gmail.com. That would be
Angel
the best.
Gabion
Yeah. You
80.
can at Gmail. You can find me on my Facebook. It's Angel Rose Sapaden Gabion, but just send me a message or message Alpha and she can connect you with me. I That's the best way.
Wonderful. Well, Angel, before I end this episode, I want to just wish you all the best in life. I want to wish you success. May you continue to be an inspirational education leader, inspirational special education teacher, and may you bring lots of happiness and light to everyone that you meet.
Thank you, Alpha. Same with you. I mean, I am just so proud of you too, friend, from where we came from.
That's
It's
right.
been 20, almost 22 years.
That's right, Angel. Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Well,
thank you so much.
you're welcome. Our pleasure. With that, we're going to end our show for today. We want to thank our viewers for being with us for this wonderful episode. I'm hoping that you are inspired by our guest today, Miss Angel Rose Sapaden Gabion, and we'll see you soon. All right, folks. Thank you. Thanks again, Angel.
Welcome, Alpha.
Take care.